Nine Lives is the 12th studio album released by the band Aerosmith, and it is the first album I ever listened to by them. It's the year 2003. The internet is around, but it's not exactly in everyone's home just yet. If people had a computer, chances are they didn't have the internet connected to it just yet, and if they did, they had a dial-up connection. Dial-up was what people used before broadband. It was super slow and super expensive. 3 meg broadband was still being rolled out across the country, and no one really knew what the difference was. 2003 is also the year where I noticed 90s pop culture starting to end. It was a transitional period, so when I first seen an Aerosmith video on TV, I couldn't exactly go and Google who they were. But one thing everyone did have was the local hippie rocker dude. Mine just happened to live across the road from me. His name was Graham. I was 15 and he was in his early 20s. He had a huge collection of music. He had long hair, played guitar in a band, smoked a lot of weed, and in my eyes was probably the most coolest and most interesting person on my road. So anyway, I wanted to know more about Aerosmith, so across the road I ventured. He lived in a medium-sized bungalow. The entrance to his house was through the main gate and into a mini courtyard. The window to his bedroom was situated in the courtyard, so instead of knocking on the door like a normal person, I'd mercilessly bang on his window. And with as much enthusiasm as I could muster, I'd be like, "Hey Graham, hey man, hey dude, I was just wondering, I seen this really kick-ass band on Kerrang, Aerosmith. I really liked them and I was wondering, do you have anything I could borrow?" Poor old Graham. I think he may have been in the middle of something with his girlfriend. As I waffled on about how much I liked what I seen, he was already scanning through his vast collection of music as his girlfriend was scrambling to find something to cover up with. Before I could finish, he handed me a CD and in the nicest way possible told me to check that out and if I didn't mind, to fuck off. He had handed me an album called 9 Lives. 9 Lives is the 12th studio album released by Aerosmith. It came out in 1997 and looking back now, it's an odd album to give anyone who's never listened to Aerosmith before. Mainly because it's post-grunge, a time where bands who were around before Nirvana would have changed their sound after Nirvana. It would be like giving somebody who's never listened to Guns N' Roses the Spaghetti Incident instead of giving them their first album Appetite for Destruction, or giving somebody who's never listened to Skid Row the album Thick Skin instead of their first one. If that doesn't make sense, it's like instead of giving you a beer, I just handed you a vodka as your first drink. It's two different extremes, and you'll either love it or hate it. He took a risk, but I think he was onto something. The front cover, after all, looked amazing. I mean, look at it. It really jumps out at you. It's a hairless cat in jeans and a wife beater tied to a circusy knife throwing thing. And the album is called 9 Lives. The cover makes sense. The opening track, 9 Lives, is a pure and utter blast of rock and roll, opening with the band's imitation of what an angry cat sounds like. Then seemingly, from out of nowhere, Steven lets out a thunderous roar, and just like that, you are hit with an all-out assault on your auditory senses, in all of the right ways. This album, from start to finish, is a journey, and its replay value is strong. 9 Lives, Falling Hard on the Knees, Taste of India, Ain't That a Bitch, Kiss Your Past Goodbye, and of course the more popular hits, Pink and I Don't Want to Miss a Thing, are my favourite tracks on this album. Falling in Love is Hard on the Knees, Hole in My Soul, Pink, and its mega hit, Don't Want to Miss a Thing, all got music videos. This album saved Aerosmith from fading out in the 90s, and it's the reason they're still able to sell out an arena today. Within weeks of the album's release, Falling in Love is Hard on the Knees was roaring its way up the charts. For a rock song in 97 to do something like that is astonishing, especially when you look at the top 5. Aerosmith were defying the odds. The album would eventually reach number 1 on the Billboard Top 200. The single Don't Wanna Miss a Thing would be used for the movie Armageddon starring Steven's daughter Liv Tyler and Bruce Willis. The song would reach number 1 a year later on the singles chart, helping to sustain Aerosmith in the public eye. 9 Lives is a fantastic album, and if you haven't heard it before, do what I did. Have a listen to it first, then work your way backwards. Sure, Permanent Vacation, Toys in the Attic, Pump, all them albums are really fantastic, but if you really want a true introduction to how great Aerosmith is, go at 9 Lives. And if you're interested in learning more, Steven Tyler's book, Does the Noise in My Head Bother You?, chronicles the band's long history and his start in music. Guys, thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please be sure to give the video a like and a sub to the channel as it helps me out a great deal. Guys, take care and thanks so much for watching. Bye bye.